can even watch back, giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Playing on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back, giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back, giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Playing on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back, giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. The Eye Test with Pierre, McGuire, and Jimmy Murphy.
The Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche. And after 22 years, Raymond Moore
The sickest NHL podcast. It's gonna be sick.
And welcome to another early edition of the Eye Test here on the Sick Podcast Network. He is Pierre McGuire. I am Jimmy Murphy. Pierre, how are you?
Excellent, Jimmy. You?
I'm good. Good to see you. Another beautiful day. Loving this weather, Pierre. I wish we could have it every day, but we will enjoy it while it lasts. Pierre, before we get into some of today's news, something kind of sent it to me today. Want to bring it up. Going back to last year, you were a big advocate for Jake Evans staying in Montreal. And today he addressed, the fact that maybe he could have got more money on the open market, but he chose happiness and comfort and the right fit over the money. And he doesn't regret it at all. And, that's refreshing to see, I think, Pierre, in today's pro sports world.
I'm really happy for him. He's happy for his family. He's happy for his new wife. He's happy for his children. He's happy for who he is as a player, as a person, the team that drafted him in the 7th round. He's a legacy guy. He went to a really good university at Notre Dame with one of the top sporting brands in the world, the Montreal Canadiens. Everybody's in a rush. The grass is always greener. And I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I lived that. I did it. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you the grass is not always greener. I can tell you right now. So I was really happy for him. I thought it would have been a bad decision by he and his group to leave Montreal because Marty St. Louis and Jeff Gorton and Kent Hughes appreciate the player that he is, and they also know the perfect role for him to play. And there's nobody in the Kings organization that can play the role he has as well as he does.
Yeah. And as you said yesterday, too, he's so versatile for them, too, right? I mean, you can put him whether it's the 4 slot or the 3 slot there, and he can kill penalties. And he's just a very valuable player for them. And I think they fit him well as well with Marty St. Louis, like you said, with what he's trying to do, the system he implements. I think he fits well in it.
The biggest part about creating roles for players, they have to accept them. If they don't accept the role you've created for them, that's good. That experiment's going to be a failure. Right. But if the player respects what you're doing for him and understands what you're doing for him and he joyously accepts it, chances are it's going to be pretty successful. And Jake has done a great job with it. He really has. He's done an amazing job with it.
Yes. All right. Well, let's get to today, Pierre. Minnesota Wild owner Craig Leopold was talking about, the extension.
Haven't we had Mr. Leopold on this show before?
Yes, we have, and I'm gonna reckon back to that in a sec. He's talking about what's expected to be a very lucrative contract extension for Kirill Kaprizov coming up. They're looking forward to sitting down with him when he gets back into Minnesota, which is going to be, I think, this weekend, by all accounts. But he said, he had one quote which I think was interesting because he may be right temporarily. He said, "This will be a huge deal. Likely the biggest deal in the NHL ever. There's no better human being or better hockey player or better person than Kirill. I think it'll be a good conversation that we'll have with him. I'm very anxious and looking forward to that conversation, and I think we'll move quickly after that." Okay, 2 things on this, Pierre. I think we can agree that if Connor McDavid isn't signed, then technically that is going to be the biggest in the NHL ever. But I think once Connor McDavid is signed, I think he comes in a little higher than Kaprizov, and that's no knock on him. But the second thing I want to ask, look, we've made it well known, as you said, we had him on our show and he was great. I love how open he is. I love how he speaks his mind. I love how passionate he is about his team in the game. But does that put his general manager in a bit of a pickle when he says likely the biggest in the NHL ever?
Not as long as the owner understands he's going to be writing a big check.
Okay.
If the owner doesn't understand that and Billy comes to him and says, "Hey, it's 14 million or it's 15 million. And the owner says, "Yeah, do it."
Okay.
And you're not in a pickle. But if all of a sudden you go to do the deal and you come back and say, "Well, we got him done at 14.5 million per year," the owner says, No, we're not doing it. Then you put the general manager in a tough position. It's interesting because I know one thing. He's a very good owner for that market.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's one of the more powerful voices in the National Hockey League that people don't talk about enough. He's a very intelligent business person. I've known Mr. Leopold a very long time. I like him very much. I've interviewed with him 2 different times for positions in the hierarchy of the Minnesota Wild, and never had any bad blood with him. Total respect for him.
And as I'm saying that, you got to think too, he's probably going to Billy before he says that and says, look, this is where we're at. This is what I want you to do. He's not going to just come out and say it, I would think, without talking to him. But by all accounts, every time I talk to Billy, he raves about him. Like Billy Guerin he's like, I am so blessed to work for a guy like this.
He's a great owner. And trust me, Commissioner Bettman relies on his counsel a lot. Mm-hmm. There's some things I'm very comfortable sharing on the show like that, and there are other things I'm not as comfortable sharing, so I'm not going to. I don't think it's appropriate. But he has far more power within the Board of Governors than people know. He's got a lot of power.
So, some people will say, I saw some reporters saying, no, this will set the table for McDavid. I completely disagree. I think McDavid's setting the table for McDavid.
Who said that? Can you just tell me who said that?
It was no, I got to pull it up now again.
Oh, then don't do that. I thought you said somebody's name. I'm sorry.
No, I don't want to throw anybody into the book.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion. I respectfully disagree with that. McDavid's setting the table for everybody.
It's McDavid, and then everybody else falls in line.
Yeah, it's McDavid's the highest paid player in the league.
Yeah.
Look at Sidney, to his credit. I don't think we have to say his name, but if we have to, Crosby. He could have set the table for a very long time for a lot of players. But Sidney also wanted to keep the band playing together in Pittsburgh for as long as they could. And that would explain why they had 16 and 17 back-to-back cups. They were able to keep a lot of players. Yeah. And so not everybody's in the same position as Sid was in.
Exactly. And that's a great segue. And we don't script this, but that's where I was going to go next. So for the fans out there right now, because sometimes I'll see fans saying, why can't this player take a cut for the good of the team? Sidney Crosby did it, or Patrice Bergeron and Brad Marchand did it for so long with the Bruins. And I don't think they understand that it was a different time then. The cap is continually rising, and it's going to rise even more. So it's almost like, to me, just my opinion, it's sort of apples and oranges. Like, I don't think it's fair to compare that time to now, because so much has happened since then, Pierre.
I remember when Byron Defoe was doing his contract in Boston, and he took less than market value. I think he took 3 times 3 years, $3 million a year.
And that was before the cap.
It was before the cap. And I can tell you, there were a lot of NHL players really angry with him and his representatives. And I might have been on TV for a little while by then. And I said, why would you be mad at him? He's allowed to choose to live where he wants to live. He's allowed to accept whatever he wants as financial, payment. And everything else. And you know what? He was really happy in Boston. He'd been kicked in the teeth in Washington. He played in the American Hockey League for a long time. And he ends up going to Boston and has this unbelievable run. And, I tell you what, I had so much respect for him because he took a lot of heat. And ever since then, I've always been like, people should just worry about themselves. And that's why I remember telling you clear as day, Jimmy. And I like Jeremy Swayman a ton. But I remember telling you last year, he's in trouble. As soon as he said, this isn't about Jeremy Swayman, this is about everybody else in the league, I was like, oh boy.
Yeah. Speaking of, and we keep doing these, you're on a roll with the segues, Pierre. Jeremy Swayman met the media for the first time this offseason, well, since getting back to Boston, as the Bruins are doing their captain's practices before rookie camp gets up on the way. Actually, they announced 2 for Bruins fans out there. Their golf tournament will be on Tuesday. So a lot of the players will be available there. We'll hear a lot more from them then. But Swayman said he feels like he's in a great place compared to last year at this time. Well, he better be, right? And, he's very excited about the upcoming season. Pierre, this is kind of an obvious question, a rhetorical question, but what happens if he gets off to a bad start again without the whole contract thing to fall back on and say as a distraction? Should Bruins fans be worried if he comes out of the gate slow?
No, I wouldn't be worried, but I would tell you, ask me what's going to happen. He's going to hear it from the fans, and he's probably going to get a dress down from upper management.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And
Yeah,
it's
he will.
interesting.
He will.
I wonder how much. I'm very interested when it comes to the Boston Bruins and there's some other teams I think that are in similar situations, how much of a 1A and a 1B they do between him and Korpisalo, as opposed to last year. He clearly was given the baton to run with, and it for a variety of reasons, it didn't go well, but it was Pierre. I mean, even if he hadn't come in under the cloud of the contract dispute, it still would have been his first time playing that many games and being the man. I wonder if they pull it back this year, or do you think they give him another shot to be the man again?
I think, Jimmy, it depends on where they are in the standings. I
Okay,
really mean that, because if they're very competitive and they got a chance at a playoff spot, I think they'll just run with the hot hand. But if they're not in that position that Cam and Donnie said they would be in last year when they made all the changes, then we'll see. We'll see. I think I've shared this before. I'm not sure I would have gone and gotten Korpisalo. I just don't think I would have, but they've chose to do that. And so they got to hope that Korpisalo can play better than what he did last year.
So they come out of the gate, Pierre. I'm looking at this. All right. They come out, they've got a back-to-back right out of the gate. They start in Washington, back for their home opener the next night against Chicago. And then they've got 2 home games. That's Saturday and Columbus Day, matinee there. You would think, if I'm looking at it, if I'm the coach, I'm going on the season opener, Swayman, home opener, Korpisalo because of back-to-back. You think?
I might do it the other way.
Really? So you get Swayman in front of the home crowd.
Yeah, you want to win at home, and chances of going down to Washington winning, especially a Washington team that's probably got Ovechkin for the last time, maybe. We'll see. Obviously Ovi wants to play longer as long as he can. We'll see whether he chooses to at the end. The record's done. If he could ever put himself in a position to win another cup, then I think maybe he plays a little longer, but we'll see. But I might do it the other way in the back-to-back.
Or do you just let him start with the back-to-back, Pierre, and then you go to
you just gotta check the workload. You just don't you just gotta. What happens if they go to Washington? Washington rings up 45 shots on them.
Yeah,
and beats them up. Not him, but the team. So I wouldn't prejudge all that. Yeah. But it's important for Boston to get off to a good start. That's not a difficult start. It's
not. So they're, like I said, they've got so it's Caps down there, then Chicago home, Buffalo home, and Tampa home. That's a tough one right there in the matinee. But
you don't know. I mean, the thing early in the year, Tampa doesn't always have great starts.
Yep.
And Chicago's a rebuild. Buffalo's still trying to figure it out. Mm-hmm. I don't see that being a tough start for Boston, but I'll tell you what, if anything less than 500 out of those 4 games, that's not going to get it done.
Who decides a goalie schedule like that? Is it the goalie coach, or is it?
They talk. It's usually the goalie coach and the head coach and the assistants, and they judge. There are more numbers now. This is where numbers do matter. There are more numbers available now than ever before, and I think those numbers are actually smart. They're good numbers to use. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the eye test doesn't always work for goalies. The numbers work better for goalies. Sometimes they do work, though, against the goalie if the goalie's playing for a team that's playing 3 and 4 and there's no defensive support in front of them. But in this case, it's the start of the year, so they've got numbers they can look at. But it's the goalie coach and the head coach that work together.
And how far out do they usually go in terms of planning? Are you looking at a whole month?
Everybody's different. Everybody's different because you don't know about injuries. You don't know about where you are in the standings. Everybody's different. You like to make it perfectly mapped out. Mm-hmm. It doesn't always work out. Let's say, I remember I played for a legendary football coach by the name of Tony Karsich. He changed my life. Legendary coach. And we'd go into every game. I was a quarterback, and we'd go into every game. He'd say, the first 10 plays are scripted. And I'd be like, okay. And I'd go home and I'd memorize those first 10 plays. Yep. So I could call them at the line if we had to or whatever. After 2 plays, the script changed.
That's it. It's out the door. Good stuff.
The script would change.
Good stuff. I want to remind everybody, too, we will have plenty of more Bruins talk on the Bruins podcast I'll be doing that Pierre is going to be part of as well. The Bruins Vibes will be live after every it'll be a live post-game show for an hour after every Bruins game this season. Really looking forward to that.
Me too, Jimmy. And congratulations to you for that. And I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, and as we do here, we will interact with the fans because that is my favorite part of the eye test. I think Pierre as well. So very excited about that. But Pierre, just a couple other things bouncing around. Some news: Quebec City is going to get to host some international hockey. They will have the 2027 Women's Worlds and then the 2029 World Junior Championship up there in Quebec City at the Videotron Center. Still called the Videotron Center, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Pierre, you know what that's going to do, and I think it's already starting. Why can't we have a team in Quebec? Get the team back, get hockey, get NHL hockey back there? And unfortunately, Pierre, as much as I want that to happen, and I know you would love it too, the reality is it's probably likely not going to happen.
I don't see it happening. The Canadian dollar is an issue. The size of the market is an issue. The corporate structure of the city of Quebec is an issue. So I have a hard time believing it. I've been talking about it forever. When they left, I didn't like it. And I was coaching in the league then. But it is what it is. The reality of Winnipeg, and we like Winnipeg, you and I both.
Yep.
It's not easy for Winnipeg. And they've got
Mr. Chipman has a
not only that, Mr. Thompson, one of the wealthiest Canadians.
Yep.
And they're losing money every year. I mean, they're not making money.
In Ottawa too.
We'll see what happens with Ottawa. I think the potential in Ottawa is pretty significant in a positive way.
If they stay on this trajectory.
They got it. It's the quality. They've had some problems with the draft. They're going to have to fix the draft a little bit because most of those top players now that were there before, they're maturing, obviously. And it's about getting the building. The building's really important. And we read that, they're going to be going to LeBreton Flats and all this, but what else have you seen?
Right. That's at least 5 years away. And as you pointed out before anyone, they got to clean the land up first.
Clean the land, get a building permit, all this stuff. Find the financing.
So as you're saying, it's imperative on the hockey ops side to stay a contender during those 5 years. Build momentum towards that. Yeah.
The exciting thing is their season ticket base is much larger than it was a year ago. And much, much larger than it was 2 years ago. So it shows they're growing their base. That's really important. And that's on Cyril Leader, who does a great job there as a president of hockey operations. The other thing, their corporate sponsorship is getting back to where it needed to be. I think that's a tribute to the new ownership there led by Michael Handlauer. There was a lot of fence mending that had to happen. And I wanted to be part of that fence mending, but then Mr. Melnick obviously passed away. So things had to change. And then the third thing is the size of the building is smaller now. It's less than 18,000 people in Ottawa because they've done some reconfiguration of the bowls in Ottawa, which I think is actually going to be good for them. So we'll see, but they've got it. It's imperative that hockey ops keep that thing competitive for the next 3 to 5 years. It's very, very important.
Speaking of new buildings and ownership and all that, Pierre, have you heard anything like the latest on the Pittsburgh Penguins?
No.
That you can tell us that you're allowed to say.
I do weekly radio there. And I just want the brand to grow because right now, no playoffs in 3 years. And you have arguably one of the top 5 players in the league in Crosby. At some point, if it's not working out this year, they're going to have to he's going to have to sit down and talk to him about it. I do think there's definitely interest from groups around. I think there's one group in particular that is probably ahead of everybody else just because they have deeper pockets probably. But we'll see. All I'll say is this. Any group that goes in there that does not include Mario Lemieux, you're taking a step backwards. That's all I'm going to say.
Considering what we've seen as the estimated values of that team or any NHL team right now, Pierre, to buy in, how much of the product on the ice is affecting what a potential owner or ownership group is willing to spend?
I don't know. Because I can't put my pocketbook in the hands of owners. So I really couldn't give you a legitimate answer on that, Jimmy, except to say that I know that the round number now, 2 billion.
Mhm.
I think I understand how the business works really well. That's all hard without the TV revenues. And I know they're giddy about streaming and all these other things. The TV number's not there for that right now.
Yeah.
For a lot of the markets, it's not. It's not
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, this whole streaming thing, man. You see what happened with Red Zone?
Mhm.
Yeah. That's a mess now.
With the commercials.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And now they've got to pay more for fans have to pay extra to get it. It's
Mm-hmm.
just, I'm telling you, it's going to all catch up. And all of a sudden, they're going to be like, why did we do that? We got greedy. It's going to happen, Pierre. We generated a little conversation, Pierre, about centers and what teams could use some center depth yesterday. And I actually had a scout reach out to me and say, Pierre's like, Toronto needs a winger, a scoring winger.
Mhm.
And it got me wondering, it's been quiet. We heard a lot, did we not, in the beginning of the summer about a certain winger in the Dallas Stars whose brother plays up there? Do you ever have you heard it? I haven't heard his name bantered about in a while, Pierre. I don't know where that's at on Jason Robinson.
Yeah, no, well, I think Jeff Merrick had something out there about
Okay.
Jason, yeah. I'd be surprised if they were gonna trade him. He's still a very important part of what they're doing there,
Right.
and so I'd be surprised if they were gonna move him.
So let's just say we're hypothetically speaking, and we don't have to throw names in it, but
Right.
what is Dallas looking for? Where do they need the most
I
depth
think
right
they could
now?
use some help on the back end.
That's what I was thinking.
I think people forget now they're bringing Radek Faksa back.
Mhm.
So they're stable at center. They're in a good spot, on a couple, and I think young Justin Ritzkovian has a legitimate chance to make their team. He's a very good player out of Northeastern, very good player. He's a little undersized, but he's a spark plug kind of a player. They've got Maverick Bork. I mean, they've got some, good stuff there. Their scouts have not let them down. And so I would say they probably need more on the back end. I really
Yeah.
do. Not people don't want to talk about it, but they forget that Christopher Tanev was there.
Yeah.
And then Tanev got hurt, and they lost to Edmonton, I'm convinced, 2 years ago because they lost Tanev in the playoffs.
I agree 100%.
Tanev was a big loss for them. It's a big, big loss for them.
Yeah. I'm looking right now, and I'm just looking at the depth chart for Toronto. And I mean, I don't know. Toronto, I think, would be pretty happy, I think, with their back end. They could maybe use some help on the back end.
They could use one elite power play guy. He doesn't have to be a shutdown guy. If they could get one really high-end power play specialist kind of guy, that would really help Toronto. They don't need they got enough back on the back end.
Maybe the guy in the aforementioned Pittsburgh Penguins that we
No, I
always
don't think so. I don't think so.
too much money, though.
Too much money. I think there was a fit for a while in Detroit. I think there
Mhm.
was. I'm not sure after they signed Travis Hamonic. I don't know just how much of a fit there is anymore.
And Detroit's got guys coming too, right? Kids that they want
They
to start.
do. No, they do. They definitely do. Like Sandin Pellikka's a really good player.
Mhm.
Really good player. And
Is
we
he-
all know.
Go ahead.
No,
No, I was going to say, is he headed for Grand Rapids, you think? Or do you think they give him
I don't know. He's pretty good. I
Yeah.
think he might be that guy that instead of getting Carlson, use him.
Yep.
Everybody knows Mo Sider. Everybody knows Simon Edvinson. Like they've got guys. I mean, they're okay, but Detroit's got. I still think they have work to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So Pierre, the final thing, and we talked about it a little earlier off the air, and I want to bring it up. I'm actually working on a story on this. Just the goalie market as we enter the season. And obviously the team that comes up all the time when you want to talk about a team wanting to improve their goalies is the Edmonton Oilers. I mean, everyone kind of looks at it like that's the missing link there. But as you pointed out, they got obviously some bigger business to take care of, and then maybe they can address that. But do you think we see, whether it's Edmonton or any other team, do you think we see a goalie get moved before the season starts? Is there a good chance of that?
Or Carter Hart gets signed.
There you go.
So, a lot of it comes down to what people will do that. They'll do some deep fact finding on Carter Hart. They will.
Oh, I'm sure they already are, Pierre.
I'm sure they are too, but they'll go deep. Like, I'm not going to tell you, but when I went to Ottawa, I did some deep diving on players that were eligible for the draft, like really deep.
Mm-hmm.
And there were some that you'd say, no problem. Like, I get why there were issues. We'll fix. And there's others you're like, we're not touching that guy.
Just a red flag. Forget about
You
it.
just can't do it. So most teams that are responsible, that have people that are well enough connected or understand the process of doing that fact finding and due diligence, they'll do a lot of it on Carter. The ones that aren't, anytime I saw Carter Hart or was around him, I never witnessed anything untoward. But I wasn't in London. I don't know what happened there. All I know is what I read. And so I would prefer to fact find rather than just go by media reports. And I don't know enough about it. I just don't.
And I don't either. And I'm not even get into it or try and understand what's going on there. But the fact is, Pierre, if some team was to sign him, they're going to have a PR whirlwind around them. How does a team in that situation, how does a management team, the public relations, how do you approach that and prepare yourself for something like that?
Well, Edmonton's prepared. They had to deal with Stan Bowman. Anaheim's prepared to do it. They had to deal with Joel Quenneville.
Mm-hmm.
There have been other players that have gotten it, more coaches that have gotten themselves into trouble over time. Mm-hmm. So I think probably the best way to look at it is you go back and look over history and study what other people have done, whether they did it right, whether they did it wrong. And you evaluate from there, and then you go forward. It's not just one of those, let's sign Jimmy Murphy, and tomorrow we're having a press conference. If you do that, you're not going to be successful.
Well, look at Boston. What happened to them a couple of years back with Mitchell Miller?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You just like, we're drafting him. Are we sure about that?
Yeah.
I just gave you some intel, like where I went and did deep dives on guys.
Yeah. So even if I would say, like, Pierre, correct me if I'm wrong, but if I'm the boss and I'm trying to tell my staff how to approach this, even if I think I know everything because I've read what's in the news, and you go back, right? You still go back and do your own investigation. Don't just rely on media reports and hearsay.
Well, I'm in the media. If I'm relying on media reports to run my team,
you're in big trouble.
Never going to win.
Yeah.
Never going to win. Just read some of the stuff on the internet now from quote unquote media people.
Right. And then 3 days later, it's completely untrue, but there's no acknowledgement that it was untrue.
Right. So one of the best lines ever is about the media. And this was an old Montreal Canadiens one for a long time. And the saying is, you don't need them when you're winning, and they can't help you when you're losing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's true. It's true. So just quickly to finish off on the goalies there, because I was looking at who some of the free agents are next year that could be hitting the market. As of now, they're positioned to hit the market, but I've got a feeling maybe the three that I'm looking at won't even make it there. But three I was looking at, Pierre, Philip Gustafson in Minnesota, who's obviously turned into a great goalie. I would think Minnesota locks him up.
Just slow down.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So they have Jesper Wallstedt. What happens if Jesper Wallstedt comes in and wins a job?
Mm-hmm.
So how much money do you think they're going to want to pay Gus?
So then maybe this does go deep into the season because they're looking at Wallstedt. Can he give us more for less?
Yeah. Look, first of all, I want to be transparent. I'm a big Philip Gustafson fan.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not even going to pretend. I was in Ottawa when he was breaking through, and I think the world of the kid, and I think the world of the player. He came from Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. Pittsburgh originally drafted him. Well, one of the guys that was there when they drafted him was a guy named Billy Guerin. So I remember very easily report this and it shows you how thorough Billy and Ray Shiro at the time were. Before they acquired Philip, they called me because I had done a lot of work with Philip. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to tell you everything that was exchanged on the phone call, but I will tell you that at the end of that phone call, if I wanted to be an inside leaker, I could have said, I guarantee you 100% he's going to Minnesota. You know, so there's somebody going deep on background and checking on a player.
Which that Pierre, and I'm gonna, because you had told me this off the air many times, and I knew that. That's one of the reasons I feel like he winds up staying there, is just because of that connection to Billy.
It's a great point. The problem, all I'm going to say is that's going to be a money one.
Okay.
And it's going to be, if you price yourself $1 million or $2 million over where they think you should be, you're probably not staying.
Yeah.
If Wallstedt plays poorly, then you get, you know, more opportunity to stay. But if he doesn't, I think it changes.
Now here's one that I think does go to the year, and I don't know if I'm just saying, when I say the year, it goes through the season and then they figure it out either before July 1st or they don't. Jacob Markstrom in New Jersey. Because I think this is a big show me year for him, not just for the contract, but just after what happened last year. And not that it was his fault. There were a lot of injuries. I'm not throwing him under the bus by any means, but they brought him there to take the next step. That's one. Do you agree with me that maybe doesn't get extended until at least the off season?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I would feel there.
Yeah. And don't forget Jake Allen's there.
Yeah. He took, speaking of players like Jake Evans that took less, he took way less to stay there just because he said exactly what Jake said. I love the fit.
Yeah,
I love
it's a perfect fit for him. He's happy there. And they've respected him. They've shown him respect, big respect.
Yeah, they love him.
But here's what I'll say, and I know how tight you are to the Jersey organization. Anything, and I don't care if they have injuries or not, anything less in the playoffs for them this year in a very down Metro division is going to be a problem.
Yeah, I agree. I do think there'll be big changes if that happens, for sure.
It's going to be a problem.
We'll see what happens there. All right. Before we get to our sponsor, Pierre, I want to remind everybody tomorrow is a pre-record. We begin a new season of On Campus Friday, which is one of our favorite parts of this podcast, where we feature college coaches and players and college-related guests as well.
Commissioners, Jimmy, commissioners.
And of course, one of our main focuses is the Friendship Four in Belfast. And we're going to kick it off with a team coach whose team will be headed to Belfast for the men's Friendship Four. And that's Matt Thomas from RIT, Pierre. I'm looking forward to it. I had forgotten when I was talked to him. I booked him, and then I'm doing the research on him. I said, oh yeah, that's right. He was in Providence, where I am right now. So he spent some time as an assistant coach there for the Providence Bruins. He's worked in the ECHL as well, and now he's heading back to college hockey. So really, he's very pumped up to speak with us. So we will pre-record that in the morning, and then it will be on at the regular time of 4 p.m. So just remember, no Q&A there, but definitely excited, Pierre, as we continue to tell everybody for the Friendship Four and heading over there to Dublin and Belfast twice for the men's and the women's. So I cannot wait. Oh, you are going 3 times. You should just get like a little condo there, Pierre.
Oh, sure. I would love it. I'm not sure.
You won't mind, right?
I'm not sure my partner would like that very much.
That's
right. McGuire might be angry with that.
Yep. She's in the sky right now, coming home. So welcome home to Melanie.
Yeah.
But looking forward to that. And then we're going to have tons of coaches and commissioners on, as Pierre said. So On Campus Friday gets going tomorrow. Big thanks, of course, to Cara Travel and the Belfast Giants as well. By the way, Pierre, I spoke to our good friend Robert and his team, the Giants. They're in Switzerland right now.
Yes.
The Champions
showdown for Champions League.
Yeah. He was very excited for that. And he was also sending me some good Irish music as we continue to exchange songs and artists. He introduces me to people. I introduce him. And
his office is amazing.
Oh my God. It's like a museum. It's an
amazing
museum.
display of musical hierarchy. I'll tell you that. It's unbelievable.
I think I told you, actually, I'm watching a show called Irish Blood. It's with an old 90s actress. What's her name now? Alicia Silverstone. She was very big in movies in the 90s. I don't know if you remember. Very beautiful actress and good actress. But it takes place mostly in Ireland and a lot of it in Belfast. And her father, who's dead, he's dead in the story, but they go back to memories nonstop of him. Huge Thin Lizzy fan. And I just keep thinking of Robert because that was his favorite band. That's tough. He's got all the guitars and everything. So I've been thinking of a lot.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So looking forward to hanging with them in a couple months. Be here before we know it. But let's tell you about our other sponsor there, Betway. You can still go all the way with Betway and bet those beauties right now. And of course, the NFL season kicks off tonight. The Philadelphia Eagles are hosting the Dallas Cowboys. Last I checked, the Eagles were -8.5. I don't know if that's gone down or up yet, but that was about an hour ago. It was 8.5. Of course, the Dallas Cowboys, Pierre, just suffered a big loss on defense. Micah Parsons. I heard you talking to Mitch about a documentary you saw about the Cowboys, and
it's unbelievable. It's on Netflix.
Okay,
it is really
this whole saga with Micah Parsons.
No, he's not part of it. It's about what happened at the start of the franchise. Jerry Jones, Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones, Michael Irving, Emmitt Smith, and obviously Troy Aikman, a big part of it. It's really powerful. It celebrates the highest of highs, and it takes you right into the valley. It's amazing. And everybody was sharing really personal, intense stuff. I commend the filmmaker tremendously, and I'm remiss. I don't know who did it, but I know it's on Netflix, and I thought it was, as somebody that wrote their college thesis on professional football and its reflections on American society, I was blown away to think that Jerry Jones, back in the 1950s, had done the same thing at the University of Arkansas, and I didn't even know who Jerry Jones was when I wrote my baccalaureate thesis. I had no idea.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, by the way, I'm glad we brought up, you said you don't know who the producers, but speaking of producers and movie execs, our good friend Matthew Helderman, I'll actually post it on my Twitter page. I'll post a link, but they're doing a big golf charity event. It's called Who Cares for Teen Cancer America. And that's coming up soon in October. I don't have the date right here in the thing he sent me, but I will find out. I'll put that up there. It looks like a great event. And I'll get that going for Matthew there. A big shout out to him. I know he's always watching. But let's get like I said,
Lake Forest College. Come on.
Yeah, there we go. And by the way, going back to Betway, as I said, NFL season opener night, tons of props over there right now. Of course, you got your NHL futures. You've got soccer, baseball, college football. So get over there right now. Do their new account special that's still running where you can sign up. You go to the QR code, if we can pull it up again right there, or go to the details section in the website, sign up for your account, and on your first bet, even if you lose, you can get up to $200 credit back. You must be 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. Always bet responsibly, and it is not available in Ontario. All right, let's get to the Q&A. What do we got? Joe, 3 p.m. start. Cool. Question. Pierre, please describe in details a perfect training camp for the Habs or any team.
You build off of the momentum from last year, number one. Number two, you don't get anybody hurt. Number three, you put in new wrinkles and the guys are receptive to it. And four, and this is really important, you find one or two players every year that bring instantaneous energy to the older guys, and you're saying, wow, this is the best camp you could ever have. That's kind of it in a nutshell.
All right, next question. Bert L., I hear many people say that if a player doesn't work out at center, you can just move them to the wing. Have there been any cases where the player moving from center to wing was unsuccessful?
Oh, I'm sure there have been. I mean, over time, I don't think it's that easy a transition. I think defensively, it's a lot easier for the center to move to the wing. But there are other parts of it. What about playing on the boards?
Mm-hmm.
What about having to get in the shooting lane? What about stretching the zone and not knowing exactly where to go when you're the winger? There are a lot of, depending on the system you're playing, there's some nuances on the wing too. What about us being the first guy in on the forecheck and you don't like to be physical? So there's give and take on both sides, but it's not always that easy to move from center to the wing, and it's definitely not easy to move from the wing to the center. It's just not that easy.
All right, next question. Randy Workman, do you guys like the overtime rules? Do away with the shootout and let ties come back.
Get rid of the shootout. Go 7 to 10 minutes, but make it 4-on-4, not 3-on-3. And the reason I say that, I don't want to see the star players get wiped out because of 2 minutes. Let's say you have 3 games in 4 nights and you play 2 overtimes and they go 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I would say this too. If there's no victor after 7 minutes or after 10 minutes, you pick the time amount, make it longer than 5. It's a tie. It'll keep everybody in the standings. It'll keep everybody, viable for a playoff position later into the season.
All right. Next question. What do we got? Pearl of Wisdom. Do you think it is possible that Seattle has been collecting assets for the purpose of selling off for the next 2 drafts? Good question.
They could be. They made a trade today. They traded 2 former Peterborough Petes, one coming from Philadelphia to Seattle, one leaving Seattle to go to Philadelphia. It's mostly an American League transaction, but still they did that. I don't know if Seattle, I know Jason Botterill will probably change a little bit of the philosophy there, but he was the assistant to Ronnie Francis, and Ronnie's still the president of the team, so of hockey operations anyway. So I don't know how much will change there. I think the biggest thing with Seattle, Perlaw, and I don't know how Jimmy feels, is eventually they have to find a formula in terms of how they play.
Right.
They've gone through 2 coaches now. They're on their 3rd coach. And at some point, the philosophy changes from coach to coach. So now they're on to their 3rd coach. And
that's tough for young kids, isn't it, Pierre, when they're just getting
like Matt Beniers. Matt Beniers been in the league. Yeah. It's 2021 draft. So he's been in the league 4 years. He's had 3 coaches.
Yeah, that's not a good scenario. Real Deal Prime over in the message section says when we're talking about centers and wings, Tage Thompson and Pierre, you've been an advocate that you think he needs to be in the middle for sure for the Sabres.
100%. I mean, Tage is a great example of that, though. He can play center because he's got mobility, he's got reach. He comes from a hockey family. His dad was a really good defender. Mm-hmm. Brent Thompson. So no, I mean that makes total sense.
All right, next question. Ethan Russell, should the Bruins try and pick up Carey Price's contract along with trying to pick up Oliver Kapanen? I think Beecher for Price, Kapanen a 2026 second. Call me crazy if I'm acting crazy. We won't call you crazy, Ethan, but we do.
I will.
Okay, I disagree. I'll say that. I don't know where you think how that works cap wise, Ethan. I know they can put him on LT.
Well, he's probably thinking that Boston's need to get to the floor. And so they're probably going to move some players out.
Oh, eventually, yeah. Okay.
Eventually.
Right now, they're up against it.
But how does Johnny Beecher help Montreal? Yeah, I would keep Kapanen.
Yeah, I think Montreal likes Kapanen a lot, Pierre.
They do. They should. He had last year. He played in Timrell last year. Go look at his numbers from Timrell. Yeah, he had a really good season.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Pierre. But hey, getting creative.
No, it's good, very creative. But I don't see how that works for Montreal.
I think when it comes to Price, if I say San Jose or Pittsburgh or Chicago to me makes the most sense.
I would say those are good. There might be a couple others.
Yep. All right. Next question. Jacob Perez, question, is $9.35 million times 5 years for McTavish, bringing him to UFA after 5 years, an automatic match for Anaheim, or would that be an uncomfortable deal for them with the UFA status?
I think that's an uncomfortable deal for them, and I think the price point is probably too high right now.
Yep.
But it's creative. I like the way the question is phrased. And thought of. I think the price point's a bit high at this point. I know, and people are going to say, well, you were out there, pushing for Timmy Stützle. I was. And I think Timmy's
better.
Probably better player.
Yep. Mason's not there yet. He could get there, but I don't think he's there yet. All right, next question. Juice, Pierre, what's the craziest NHL draft you ever covered as a scout or broadcast? Oh, we were talking a lot of draft, yes.
90 was crazy. That was my first one. I was working the floor, and Pittsburgh ended up getting Jaromir Jagr. The number 6 pick overall, the Islanders had 6. They took Scott Sissons. didn't play.
Yeah.
So if you look at the first 5, and this, again, we're going back, 35 years now? So number 1 was Owen Nolan. Number 2 is Peter Nedved. Number 3 was Keith Primo. Number 4, again, off the top of my head, was Mike Ricci. Number 5 was Jaromir Jagr. Number 6 was Scott Sissons. Where did Darian Hatcher go?
Two picks later to Minnesota.
There you go. So could you imagine if the Islanders would have got Darian Hatcher?
At that time, I'm trying to remember who was on their D at that time, Pierre.
Oh, they had a good team.
That's what I feel like.
Big defense. They had good play. I mean, they had big physical guys.
How did Keith Tkachuk and Marty Brodeur drop?
So Marty was because Trevor Kidd took all the pub that year. Trevor Kidd was the big star goalie. He was playing in Brandon. I went and watched them play. One night, I think in Moose Jaw, I think he made 65 or 68 saves, if I remember, and they tied the game. I was like, wow. But Trevor Kidd. So where'd Trevor go? 12 or 13 in that draft?
He went 11, actually.
11, so he went 11. So I was close enough. He went 11 in that draft, and then Marty went at 20. I'm pretty sure Marty went at 20,
went 20. Keith Tkachuk at 19, right?
So the reason why Tkachuk slipped is he broke his ankle his draft year.
Okay.
And there was really only one person that knew him really well, and his name is Joe Yannetti. Joe Yannetti was the coach at St. John's Prep, where Bobby Carpenter played, but he was scouting for Winnipeg, and his son Mark. By the way, his son Mark does a great job with the LA Kings.
Yep.
And Joe knew Keith Tkachuk as well or better than any scout on the floor in Vancouver that year.
Well, those high schools were rivals.
And that's of course that's what I'm saying. So he knew.
Yep.
So they had way more intel. Now I knew Tkachuk was really good, but again, he broke his ankle. And he was a little bit larger, so you didn't know if he was going to rebound from it or not. So that 90 draft was kind of a funky one. In terms of broadcast, I'm going to say 03. 03 was crazy as a broadcaster because you had it was a draft where you couldn't miss in the first 35 picks unless you did miss. Mm-hmm. And there were like 4 teams that missed pretty bad.
We talked about that yesterday. Yep. Just going back to that 90, Pierre, how about Doug Waite falling all the way to 34th?
I wrote. So I'd been hired that year, and Dougie was playing at Lake Superior State, and he was really good. And I wrote a report for Scotty, and I said, I don't know if he's as tough, but he's really similar to Dougie Riseborough.
Smart.
More offense than Dougie, but I don't know if he's as tough as Riseborough, but he's got more offense, and that's kind of the player he turned out to be. Dougie Waite was a heck of a player.
Oh, my gosh.
He was a heck of a player, I'll tell you what, right now. He and Billy Guerin in Edmonton.
Oh yeah.
And how
about that 96 team that won the World Cup
Dougie Waite was a heck of a player. He is a heck of a player.
One of the best of my lifetime. All right. Next question. What do we got? Smoke Hockey Trading. What's up, buddy? Pierre, how do the Hawks take the next step this year? And don't you think they need to add a line mate for Bedard? Personally, I feel like Connor is a better fit at the wing opposed to center. Pierre and I both agree on that.
I love it whenever we get notes from this gentleman because it's so good. Yeah. So I agree. Connor's a winger, not a center. So that's number one. Number two, how do they improve? Their young guys on defense have to take the next step. Mm-hmm. They really do. I will also say this. Their face-off play will be enhanced tremendously. Michael Pekka's going there as an assistant coach, and I think that will help them a lot. And I'm interested to see just how big a jump some of those young D-men, like Vlasic, what kind of jump, does he make? I think that's big. If they can get him to go up and be in the upper echelon to shut down guys, and Kevin Korchinski, if he's another guy that can take another one of those steps. So I don't think they're a playoff team yet. I think getting Spencer Knight takes them a little bit closer, but the biggest thing I'm looking for them is stabilizing their young guys in defense in particular.
All right, next question. Ian Lewis, welcome back, guys. Thank you. I feel like Struble has a lot more edge to his game as he becomes more comfortable with the D systems. Do you see his underlying talents coming out in his game?
Yes, as long as he doesn't overhandle the puck. So the answer is 100%. Once he gets more and more physical. He got in a fight in Pittsburgh last year. He lost the fight. I think it was against Ryan Graves, if I remember correctly.
You are correct.
And he took a step back confidence-wise after that happened because he's not used to having that happen to him. He's a really tough kid, Jimmy, as you know. So I think that as you get stronger and more used to the National Hockey League, I think you get better. And I think this is one of those things where I think he'll get better this year.
Yep. All right. Next question. A to Z me. If the Habs are not in the playoff spot at the deadline, do you guys think Line and Matheson will be traded?
Line will, because his contract's up. So he'll be a rental for somebody for the rest of the year. Matheson, I don't know. Matheson's a good question, but I just don't know. Mike can play left or right. He won't have to play in the power play this year because they'll have Hudson and they'll have Dobson. They'll probably run it with, flat 4 forwards and 1 D on both. So
what you just said there, because of the guys they've added and what they have now and what's developed, I think we're going to see a really – I'm not saying he's going to score a ton of points or anything, Pierre, but I think he has a much better season. I think he makes less mistakes because he's not going to be as worn down.
You're talking about Michael?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, completely agree.
I'm really expecting a solid season from him. Like I'm saying, not like he's going to have 40 points or something. I just think you're going to see less of the mistakes.
I agree with that.
All right. Next question. Real Deal Prime. Question, Pierre, you're looking fit and trim. Must be the treadmill. Oh, it's the workouts he did with his son, Ryan. You should see Ryan. Take Edmonton out of the equation. Is Montreal the next Canadian team to Lord Stanley? And Carey Price, why not move the contract? Thank you.
Well, I think they're trying to move the contract. I'm not going to sleep on Ottawa, and I'm not going to sleep on Toronto. I know people are, giving Toronto a hard time. I'm not going to change my opinion to Toronto. I think that they're in a real good position. Last year they won the Atlantic Division. And honestly, Jimmy, they were up 2-0 in their series with Florida. The goalie gets hurt, obviously, is a problem. And they lose game 3. They lose game 4. They get slaughtered in game 5.
Right.
They go down to Florida. They win game 6. And then they get crushed in game 7. Stolarz was a big part of that, not being healthy. And I think Toronto's good. But Montreal, Toronto, and Ottawa are 3 teams I wouldn't go to sleep on. I would not. I think all 3 of them have a legitimate chance to compete.
I know some of the signings Toronto's made, and maybe their lineup's not as flashy anymore or exciting. But Pierre, I just feel like they are built better for the playoffs. They may not win the division, but get to the playoffs. I just feel like they've got a little more grind to them.
Their depth down the middle. If Scott Laughton's your number 4 centerman, if Nick Roy is your number 3, if Johnny Tavares is 2, and at 1 you got Austin Matthews. And let's say Austin gets back and is healthy this year and scores 45 to 55 goals, which last year he was hurt. He had 33 goals last year, Jimmy.
I know.
I mean, come on. How many guys would like to have 3 goals? He had 33.
Yep. All right. Next question. Randy Workman, do you like this 3rd-time emergency goalie rule? I myself would let them allow an AHL goalie to stay on their roster as a 3rd goalie.
I like that, what Randy just said.
I like Randy's idea.
I like what Randy just said there. I kind of agree with that.
Yep. All right. Next question. Ian Lewis, what is the magic number for teams in the league and why? 36 teams. How long to get there?
Well, I think we got to get to 34 first and see how it goes and make sure there are enough players. Mm-hmm. So they're going to 34. I'll tell you that right now. They're going to 34. Atlanta's going to get a team, and I think Houston, Texas is going to get a team. And then you go from there. You see, is Arizona going to be viable again? Because if they get a building in Scottsdale, it's a viable place to go. Do they put a team north of Toronto? You got problems with, having to pay Toronto and you have to pay Buffalo in terms of infringement costs. But I do think eventually you can get to 36, but let's get to 34 first.
All right. Next question. Ethan Russell, how many years out would you say James Higgins is and a few other prospects like Locke Millis have a good years this coming year? I'm only saying this to see, do they make the roster?
Losh Mellis might. He's got a chance. I mean, he had a real after leaving UMass, he did really well in Providence. Hagen's going back to Boston College. They'll probably turn him pro at the end of BC's year. And I don't think they'll turn him pro to put him in the American League. They'll turn him pro to put him in Boston. It'd be like Ryan Leonard, his old line mate, like Gabe Perreault, his old line mate. Hagen's added weight this summer. He looks physically more stout, which is good. I sent Jimmy a pretty cool picture before about Hagen's. We didn't even know we were going to be talking about him today. So no, I think Hagen's a good player. I think Lush Mellis is a really good player. I've been watching that kid since he played over in Finland. You know, he's a Latvian, but he was playing U20 in Finland. And I was like, this kid's going to be really good. And then I find out Carvel went and got him. I was like, that's good. He knows what he's doing. He's a good player.
All right, next question. Jax, hello, gentlemen. Nearly 95% of the Habs are on the ice since last week. Is this the best method to build chemistry and remove rust so they can start the season hot early?
Can I say this with all due respect to Jax? This is not a new concept.
Yeah, I know.
Jax, the only reason you're even aware of this is because people have decided to make it new.
Social. Yeah,
they're putting it on social media. This has been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
This is not a newfangled idea.
I'm not going to name the channel, Pierre, but there's a channel that covers an NHL team that has the rights to them that actually did a captain's practice preview show.
It's okay.
I get it, but like I'm saying, it's all of a sudden it's become this huge thing, and it's like this has been going on forever.
This has been going on for a long time.
Yeah, but I will say, Jax, for the Canadians, one thing I do think is positive. A lot more of them stuck around the whole summer, not just for this captaincy.
That's a very big. I totally agree.
Yep.
You know, Demidov being there all summer, Line being there all summer. Yep. There are a lot. Dobson showed up there. No, Lane Hudson was there all summer, most of the summer. No, that's different for sure. Because most guys check out at the end of the season, they go home.
And that's not just Montreal. Most guys at any team just
No. I think that's but in terms of skating before training camp, this is not a new concept.
Yeah.
It's not a new concept.
It was a new concept to the big bad Bruins of the 70s, I'll tell you that. They were still having a good time. All right, next question. Juice, Pierre, during your time as a scout, what was the hardest town in the Canadian Hockey League to get in during the wintertime or at any point during the season? Pierre, you told me a great story. I don't think it was in Canada. It was in Minnesota, maybe, where the guy told you to leave the car on.
No, that was in Canada.
It was in Canada. Okay.
It was. That was in Melfort, Saskatchewan.
Okay. That I think's a good one. You should tell
I was going to watch a player named Paris Duffus, who ended up being drafted by Colorado and went to Cornell. I was going to watch him play goal, but that was in Melfort, Saskatchewan. And I walked into the rink and I was probably 45 or 50 below zero. And, you could tell I had a long overcoat on and I had my notepad out and I'm sitting in the corner by myself. There might have been 50 people at the game. I don't know, 60. And the Zamboni driver comes up and he goes, "You're clearly not from here." I go, "No, I'm not." He goes, "Get back outside, turn the car on, because once this game is over, I'm not jump starting you." And he says, "I promise you, nobody's going to steal your car." So that was Tier 2 junior. I would tell you this, probably the hardest place I ever had to go to in a snowstorm was Prince Albert. Oof. I was in Saskatoon. I went Wilcox, where Notre Dame is. Then I went to Yorkton to watch Dennis Polonich coach. He basically owned the team. He was a really good hockey guy. I think he's an agent now. Then I went to Regina to watch the Pats play. Then I went up to Saskatoon to watch the Blades play. And then I went to Prince Albert. And I'm telling you, I hit a storm. And it was hard to get there. It was hard to get there. I don't remember if I drove back or not. I'm pretty sure I stayed after the game in Prince Albert, but I'll tell you what, it was a hellacious ride to get there. It was not fun.
Those are interesting. All right. Well, that's it for our Q&A here. I want to thank everybody for their questions. Thank everybody watching and listening. We appreciate it. Big thanks to Shane working the boards up in Montreal. And again, we will be pre-recorded tomorrow, so no Q&A, but you do want to tune in. It's going to be a great show. with RIT head coach Matt Thomas. So join us here on the Eye Test tomorrow on the Sick Podcast Network.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Eye Test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.